Actually, last time we saw you was in August, putting on a heck of a show. What have you been up to since then? I know you like to have some adventures and that sort of thing. What have you been doing?
Not much. I mean, always training, just getting ready for the next one. But me and my girl, we did do a little traveling, a little road trip, and then we actually came up to Denver before I got this fight booked here in Denver, and did some snowboarding. And then right when I got back from Denver, or as we were coming back from Denver, BJ called us and he needed some sparring partners for the Yair fight, so he flew us out to Hawaii. So we were able to double up on the vacation trips, so we got to see Hawaii as well. And then once I touched down in Hawaii, I'm here back in Denver because I got scheduled on a short notice fight. So just been moving around, just same old, same old.
Very nice. Let's talk about the Yair Rodriguez fight first. I know that this sport is about wins and losses at the end of the day, but I know you are kind of more about the martial arts aspect necessarily than the competition. So when you put on a show like that, and it was such a fun fight, I mean, do you take some pride in that and some lessons out of it? I mean, how do you think about that fight in retrospect?
Well, there's always lessons in the loss, you know. And definitely, I'm still excited about that fight. I would like to have a fight like that again. You know, those are the kind of fights that I enjoy. I'm able to showcase a lot of my abilities, and I feel the harder the opponent is, the more he brings out of me. So it usually calls for a good fight. I mean, all the fights that I usually had bonuses in, it was usually because it wasn't just me; it was me and the opponent putting on a show. And two of the three bonuses that I won were fight of the night bonuses. So that should say a lot. I did win a submission of the night bonus, but for the most part, I'm going to put on an exciting fight. Even if I don't win the bonus, my fights are still going to be in contention for that most exciting fight, just because of the style that I bring to the table. And if the opponent is good, he'll bring the best out of me as well.
At the end of the day, is that more satisfying to you to put on an exciting type performance like that than to maybe go in and just dominate someone?
In some ways, yeah. In some ways, no. I mean, you always want to win, you know, especially it makes it easier in a capitalistic society we live in. You would want to win to make more revenue and push the streets a little bit further away from you. But how would you say? It is satisfying to have a good war with another fellow martial artist, an actual martial artist that you can get in there, have that kind of respect, pour everything out there, leave nothing behind, and it's not personal, you know, like it is a good feeling to be able to do that rather than just, because we train a lot, and, you know, especially for me, I don't know how anybody else feels, but I train like a motherfucker and I train all the time. So the last thing I want to do is, not the last thing I want to do, don't get me wrong, I'll take whatever finish I can get, but it is satisfying you want to spend as much time there as you can, because you spend so much time preparing for this moment. I kind of want to make it last sometimes. It's not like an adrenaline rush for me. It's not like I get super amped up or angry at the person or hyped up or trying to make it personal. To me, it's something that I truly enjoy doing. I just want to do it. So it shouldn't be so far-fetched that I would rather spend 15 minutes or 25 if I have the opportunity to inside of the octagon rather than 1 minute. So to speak.
Very cool. You talked about getting a call from BJ Penn. Was that something you were expecting or surprising? How did that come about?
That was out of the blue. You know, he came to Arizona actually first, and then he was talking about it there. He's like, oh, you know, you should come out to California and help me train. And I did a little bit, and then he left, or I left California. He flew me back because he left to Hawaii. Didn't hear from him for like 2 weeks. Then he called me up after 2 weeks and says, "Oh, I want to do more sparring," so he flew me out. It was kind of random.
Was it because you had just come off a fight with Yair Rodriguez, or was it like some kind of personal connection or your ability to mimic Yair? I mean, what was it that he took value out of?
Well, I think it's a little bit of all those things. We did have a previous relationship, and which is on good terms, as well as I did fight Yair last, and he wanted to pick my brain about that, and I was probably the closest person that was in his vicinity to mimic Yair as good as possible. But he's a good guy. It was great. I think that was the reason why, you know. But other than that, I mean, me and BJ, we get along. We always got along. Even before, I think it was like around after the Ultimate Fighters when I met him, sometime around there, chilling in Vegas.
Nice. So then you do that, and then you get the call for this fight with Jason Knight. I know that you don't necessarily watch the sport all the time, so I mean, did you know anything about him? Did you know who he was? What happened when you got the call?
And I mean no offense when I say this, of course, but no, I did not know. I literally touched down from Hawaii. I just got in from Hilo into California, and once my plane landed, Abraham, my manager, calls me. He says, "Oh, you want to fight?" Or he texts me, "Do you want to fight Jason Knight? Do you want to fight Jason Knight on the 28th?" And then, you know, he should know the way I am. He knows the way I am. So I just text back like, "Why are you even asking me? Like, just like, you know, just send me all the paperwork." And he's like, "Do you know who he is?" And I'm like, well, again, like, you know, like I really don't. And it's not disrespect to my opponent. It's just a lot of people. I feel like, aside from this interview, but a lot of interviews, especially pertaining to like the mainstream media, when they're marketing the fight, they want you to like kind of talk crap about the person. They want you to be aggressive in a sense. Like they want to hear that egotistical confidence that you have, the false machismo, I would say. And they try to bring it out of me, you know, and it's hard because I have nothing personal against the person. It's hard for me to make something personal against a person that I don't even know. I never met the guy. I didn't even know him until they announced the fight and booked me for the fight. I had to look him up, to be honest. But I don't watch the sport, and it's not because I don't know him, because he's not good or he's not. I'm pretty sure he's well renowned within the fighting community. I just don't watch it on TV, so I just don't know anybody unless I've met him in person.
Once the fight was put together, I mean, do you go back and watch tape and start to look at him, or do you just trust your coaches to break it down? How do you approach it when it's a guy that you don't know?
Well, I mean, I watched like one of his fights, and I heard one of his interviews, and I seen a couple pictures, but I think that's enough. You know, I don't know. Like I never try to make a game plan, and when I do it, I don't do too well. I like to go in there and just fight to the best of my abilities. I try to increase every facet of my arsenal. I don't try. I'm not complacent in just being a stand-up person. I do want to get better at wrestling. I am getting better at wrestling. At least I believe. In the lab, they believe it as well. I am becoming a better ground fighter as well as a striker. So to me, as a martial artist, as a person getting into a fight, especially if you don't know the guy, especially if you're a guy that he's never fought before, how in the heck am I going to predict what this guy's going to do to me, because he's never had a person move like me in front of him. He's never had a person that looks like me in front of him, so it's just going to be, it's a little different. So it's hard for me to build a game plan on him. He might stand up and strike with a lot of wrestlers, you know, and a lot of ground guys. But I have reason to believe he might shoot a whole bunch of shots at me just so I won't get off my, you know, punches and kicks. So I try not to think about that, and I just try to go with the flow.
Very nice. Well, from the outside looking in, it looks like you guys' styles are going to match up really well. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know you always have interests outside of the sport, man. So talk to me about kind of what your latest interests are when you're not training, what you're focusing on.
I've been reading lots of books, a lot of science fiction books. I've been, I'm in the Dune series now, Frank Herbert's Dune. I've seen the movies when I was a kid, and I've seen the little mini series when I was younger too, but it totally makes more sense now, I guess, since I have an older mind. I'm reading the book now. It's an epic story. So I'm getting into a lot of sci-fi. I've been into gaming. I mean, I've been into gaming forever, but just downloaded a few new games. So I've just been stuck on gaming and stuff after training. I actually am starting to try and pick up crocheting.
Interesting.
You know, like forms of knitting and stuff like that. It's you know, I feel like it's a cool thing. Still doing gardening and everything. Got my spinach coming in, my kale's coming in. They're like this big now, like this wide.
Wow, you really got like that.
Yeah.
You'll be the baddest crochet dude on the planet here pretty soon, huh?
Hopefully. It's hard. It is hard to crochet. But really I've been focusing a lot on getting better with social media, promoting my brand more. We set up my new website, bruceleroy.com. We're selling shirts. You can see my upcoming fights and my backgrounds and stories and other videos of highlights and whatnot. So I finally got that up and running with the help of Human Weapon, which is these guys right here. But I've been doing that. I've been actually practicing a lot of Tai Chi lately on Sundays with this old guy.